how to create a single twist technique. Okay, so as you can see, our single twists are now complete, and we've twisted that straight from the roots all the way to the end. What I decided to do is I'm not going to set and curl the ends with the flexi rods, as I mentioned before. I'm just going to leave this down. But if I just turn her around, if you look at that from the front side, you can see that naturally her hair is quite thick from the roots to the mid-length, but it does go a little bit more thinner on the ends. But provisionally, what we're going to do now is we need to set this hair and we need to place it under the hood dryer. Because of how the hair is quite long, it's mostly ideal if you wrap set this hair so you don't have any of the hair hanging low, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do with Lisanya's hair is I'm actually just going to bring it around gently and almost doing like a wrap around technique, but I'm just going to be using my sliding clips here. So these ones allow us to pin the hair without any crease being formed in the hair as well. Instead of using my butterfly clips to hold the hair, I'm going to use these smaller sliding hair section clips that I have here. So I'm just going to take the hair from the left hand side. Depending on how long the hair you're working with, you might be able to do a full wrap around where you wrap the hair around, but because the hair is slightly past the shoulder but it's not long enough to bring it all the way around, I'm just going to take this section here, and then this I'll be pinning it in. So I just turn her. So I am trying to place this in a way that it's actually just holding it up without any hair being pinned in any awkward position that will create any form of creasing in there. That's the key thing that I'm trying to avoid happening to the hair right now. So I'm just bringing this here around. If I just turn her so you can see, so I've literally just taken the hair and I'm just tucking it around just underneath there. So I'll just do that throughout the whole hair, and hopefully that should hold for us to place it under the hood dryer. Your other option would be to just wrap this hair around and use a hairnet or a do-rag to keep the hair in position so it doesn't actually fall out as well. That is an option. So you might wonder, Michelle, why are you not using what you just said you could use? I forgot to buy it and I can't remember where my other one is, so I'm literally just going to use my pins here. So sometimes you just have to be creative with how to deal with situations where you happen to forget to buy the things that you needed to be using. So just put as many as you can. I would recommend using this type of sliding pins because they hold nicely. If you can use hair grips, but the only thing with hair grips is when they go into the hair, they're going to press and create pressure wherever you've placed them, so it might end up not holding the way that you actually want it to hold. So I would avoid using hair grips and just use similar pins to what I'm doing right now. Okay, and try not to drop your tools as I'm doing here. More or less tucked in, and the next thing I'll do is just to place her under the hood dryer. Okay, at this point we don't need to put any more products on the hair, so the creams that we used for the twisting, they're enough to help to set the hair the way that we want it to set. Okay, so in terms of the drying of the hair, depending on how thick the person's hair is, the drying time, so for example for Lisanya's hair, we're actually going to set under the hood dryer for about 60 minutes. If the hair was slightly shorter and not as thick, then you could start off with 45 minutes, and then when the timer goes off, you can then just check the hair. If it's dry, then you can proceed and take out the hair. If it's not dry, you can put the person back in for an extra 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to place it underneath here for about 60 minutes. In terms of the temperature here, I am going to place it just in between 40 and 50, and then if it feels too hot for her, I will be double checking through the process. If it's hot, then I will bring that down a little bit more, but it should be okay. So it depends on how powerful your hood dryer is and what type of dryer you're using. You just make the adjustment as you go. So I've set the heat temperature between 40 and 50 on my one, and I'm just going to put the drying time on to 60 on this one here, and then she'll just be underneath that for that time period. And then that's it pretty much. So we'll leave it there to set and dry. Once it's dry, then we'll proceed and doing our twist out and styling of the hair. So Lisania's hair is now dry. The twists are completely dry. We're going to go ahead and do our twist out styling now. For this part, you're going to need either an oil or a serum. You need the oil or serum as part of the taking out process, because this is going to be applied on the hair before you do your taking out, and during the process of taking out, it's going to help to add shine to the hair. So it works as a finishing product, but it also works as a product that you can use to reduce the risk of the hair separating too much and becoming frizzy. So all you're going to do is to smooth that oil or the serum along the section of the twist that you're about to take out. So for my takeout styling, I'm going to be using Charlotte Mensa's Manchetti hair oil. I'm just going to lightly apply this in the palm of my hand, and then I'm going to smooth it over the twist. And as I do my taking out, I'm going to individually apply a little bit more on the individual twist as I do the taking out of the hair as well. So the serum, if you have an serum that's a little bit more thicker, it's a little bit more easier to control, so it's not going to overflow in your palm, and it's not going to kind of like create too much mess on the hair itself in terms of applying it. But if you have an oil, just make sure that you don't apply too much at a time, because it is going to be a little bit more runny. So I'm just going to apply a few drops in the palm of my hand here, and this I'll just literally work it through, and then I'll just smooth it on top of the twist. Okay, so just take your time and then work that through the hair. You want to provisionally also check to make sure the twists are completely dry before you start the taking out process. I will be turning hair around in a moment, and you'll be able to see at the back where I provisionally took out one of the twists, just to check and make sure that the hair was as dry as I want it to, and we had that nice finish that we want to see in the hair as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn her around. When we do the taking out, I will start from the back and then work my way to the front. So as you can see, if you look at that one, this was one individual twist that I already taken out, and I did the separating. This is what we're aiming to do on the rest of the twist of the hair. So I'm just going to lightly smooth that oil along the hair there. So this is just giving us a really nice shine to the hair, and it's also going to work to keep the twist from freezing out too much in the hair as well. Okay, so starting from the back, I'll start my process of taking out the hair. If I just turn her here, and I'll just demonstrate that with a couple of the twists, so I can talk through the actual process of taking out the twist as I did with the first one here. So what you want to do with the twisting is quite easy to actually take out the hair. What you want to do, because we did our pre-twisting clockwise and then we started with the right hand section crossing over to the left, I'm just going to do that same pre-twisting technique. So I'm just slightly twisting it over to the right. So as you can see, we'll start to loosen. So you want to be very gentle with this. So you don't want to rush through this process. Just take your time and just undo the twist. So what I would normally do is I will undo all the twists like this first, and then taking a small amount of that oil, like I mentioned before, I'm just going to take that oil and then work it through the strands of the hair here. Okay, now these two sections here of our 2-strand twist. Each of these I'm going to divide at least 4 to 6 times. So the more you separate the section, the fuller the hair is going to be. But you want to be careful that you don't over separate the section, because if we over separate these sections, it's naturally going to start looking a little bit more frizzy. So you want to maintain this kind of finish here, so it's not overly separated. So you want to just take your time. So again, I'm rolling the hair the opposite way. Where we pre-twisted clockwise, I'm just rolling it the opposite way, so it just slightly loosens the hair. And then coming in right from the center there, I'm going to start to separate out the strands. So this, it's more visual. You just take your time and see. If it's looking as full as you want to, then you can stop the separating. If you feel that you could separate it a little bit more, then you're going to go in and separate the hair a little bit more. And remember to always add a little bit more oil in your hands if you don't have any more oil left or serum left in your hands as you're doing the separating out of the hair. So I'm leaving that section. So I've got this next section here. Still the same process. We're going to separate out the hair. I'm just going to add a little bit more oil in my hands here. And then just smooth that through, and I'll smooth that along the section of the hair, and then we just separate. So this is essentially how you do your single twist, and now we're doing the twisting out process. So if you ever find someone asking you to create a twist out styling, or you're having a conversation with someone that you're looking after who mentions that they just had their hair in a twist and they've created a twist out and this is what their hair looks like, this is the process that they would have gone through to actually create this look. So when you look at someone with afro textured hair and it has this kind of like shape that we see in the hair here, the question you should be asking them is, have they had any form of twisting done on their hair to create the finish of the shape that we see here? The answer is likely going to be, I've just had a twist out, this is the style that I have at the moment. And you don't want to put anything water-based. If you are doing aftercare or you're maintaining someone who's already had this style, you don't want to apply anything water-based, because if I went ahead and sprayed a leave-in conditioner or something on this here, it's literally going to cause the hair to start to revert back. The only products that we're putting in the hair is only the serum or the oil at this point. If you're working on set or you're doing a photo shoot and a model comes in and they already have this style, there's only so much that you can do to the hair to maintain the look. So you just want to make sure you have some kind of oil or serum in your kit that allows you to be able to go in and just separate out the strands in areas where you feel that you could separate it to make the hair look a little bit more refreshed. Otherwise, you just leave the hair as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the taking out and the styling of the hair. So I'm going to go ahead and separate everything, as you can see, like I just did here. And the final thing is I'll just slightly comb out the roots with my afro comb just to stretch out and create a little bit more volume. And then I'll leave the hair alone, because you don't want to touch the hair too much. The hair naturally will expand by itself over the course of the next few days. If the style is kept in for about a week, by day 3, day 4, it will naturally expand and we just have a natural finish to it. So that is the process for the twist out styling that we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now.